Hello.
Hi, I'm Vanessa,
And I'm Priya.
and we're here to share with you some of our favorite wellness tips for the transition of seasons from summer to autumn.
Yep. We're going to be offering you ways to rejuvenate during this change of seasons.
Yes.
And the first series that we want to offer is on essential oils.
Essential oils and also getting better sleep around this time of year is a very important thing. But those things have a lot of crossover as well. So one of there's two kind of separate essential oils we wanted to talk to you about. And one is when the temperature is still very hot, and like it is now here in Southern California, we're still getting days in the 80 degrees. You want to stick to essential oils that are still a little more cooling, but also assist your immune system. So the first one I wanted to talk about was peppermint, and I'm going to open it up so that we can smell it. It smells amazing.
Refreshing and cooling.
Yeah, refreshing and cooling. And I use essential oils that are primarily from the Young Living line. That's what this is. But I also appreciate all the other ones. I think you use doTERRA.
I use doTERRA primarily.
Yeah. And I also like to travel and kind of collect oils wherever I go. So peppermint is one of those ones, depending on the variety that you've picked, will often smell quite different. I keep a little bit in my car, and I'll open up the peppermint oil and just smell it when I'm stuck in traffic here in LA. I'll even use it as a breath freshener. Used to be careful. I did this for my mom, and she was like knocking it back, and it's quite strong. And she was like, "Why did you do that to me?" So don't do that. One way to do it is just to put your finger on the top and get a little bit on your hand, and good. This very cooling. You could also dab on your temples, not in your eyes, or on the back of the neck, anywhere on the spine. Will help to cool you down in those days where things are still flaring up and still hot, but you're maybe a little overdressed, you're in your woolens, you want to open out the peppermint oil.
Yeah. And also putting it on the bottom of your feet also cools you down. And it's also helpful for, along with the overheating, is if you have a headache, if you feel nauseous, there's different ways that your body's trying to find rebalance again.
Yeah, and allergens. That's another that can really help to clear the lungs. And the season of autumn, in terms of Chinese medicine, rules the lungs. So it's a good time of year to pull that out. And the next one we wanted to share was lavender, which is another one I'm going to open so we can smell. You can smell?
Nice.
Which has so many different varieties. This one happens to be from France, but I picked it up in Ojai. But I've studied a little bit about the horticultural varieties of lavender, and from every part of the world they have a very special lavender that can grow, and each one has a variance between sweetness and more like an antiseptic quality. This is something you want to have all year round because it can help you in the kitchen if you get a burn like I got this week. See that? I got a little burn on my arm. Right away you want to ice and then put some lavender oil. Tea tree is also good, but the lavender actually helps to take the burn out. So it's another one we use when it's too hot. Whether you get a burn or if it's too hot outside, it helps to cool you down. It also helps to cool your mind, and it can really, really assist with sleep. So I take this when I'm traveling, and I'm kind of like a priest when I go into a hotel room. I'm baptizing the bed with my lavender oil. For me, but also bugs will not like the lavender. So if there's any creepy crawlies in the room anywhere, they'll be like, "Oh, not going to the bed area."
Great for traveling.
Great for travel. Yeah.
Yeah, and also since, we're in Southern California, and in a lot of the Mediterranean climates, we've been experiencing a lot more humidity and moisture, so we're seeing a lot more bugs, a lot more mosquitoes. Lavender is one of these oils that's really helpful for repelling bugs as well as soothing bug bites. Yeah, and so another complement to lavender is actually two other oils that I love blending with lavender is tea tree oil and rosemary. So tea tree, I feel, is one of these amazing, all essential, so many purposes, and really it's antimicrobial, antifungal, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and just a really good first aid oil that I always have with me, especially when I'm traveling. It too, if you need to clean cuts or bites, and it's also great for just general housekeeping. I keep it around. Like I said, it's something that I use as a hand sanitizer. Something that if I need to wipe something down, clean it off real quick, I use tea tree oil. Really good for a lot of different purposes. And then rosemary is an amazing essential oil. It too has similar properties where it uplifts the mood. It's stress relieving, so it's a really good complement with lavender in that it's, lavender can be very relaxing, and so rosemary is very uplifting in that way, where it's good against stress and depression, and it's also really good for the respiratory system. So another perfect oil for the lungs and detoxification, as well as for the gut. So in this time where we're also clearing out, whatever that we might have been eating over the summer and overindulging, rosemary is really good for constipation, for bowels and all of that. And again, it's a really good complement with tea tree and with lavender.
Yeah, so many of the oils have crossover qualities and so many good qualities to them. Another one on this list, which kind of straddles both this summer and autumn vibes for me, is lemongrass. And we were just joking before we started that it smells like fruity pebbles. It's such a sweet smell. It's one of those things where if you do a little bit of autumn cleaning of your house, like we've been talking about, I like to put a few drops in my mop water and then wash the whole floor. And again, bugs will stay away, but your house will smell fruity and clean at the same time. You want to be careful with anything that's a citrus style oil like lemongrass on your skin if you're in the sunlight, though. You don't want to put this on. This would be a nighttime because it can affect the melanin in the skin. What else about lemongrass? Oh, bugs. Again, we said that bugs don't like it. Oh, very healing for the digestive system. And also antimicrobial for your skin. So if you were to put it on, say adding it to a lotion, and you have anything in your skin that's like a dry skin starting to come up in this time of year can happen, this can help to cure that as well. Something like side note about rosemary, which I don't know if you are aware, when I was traveling in India, I learned that they put it like a rosemary sprig inside of their shampoo, and it diffuses into the shampoo. And
yes,
do you know about this?
Yes, this is actually another one of the other benefits of rosemary is that it's really good for hair growth.
Hair growth, which I love.
Yeah,
I love that idea that you could make your own natural hair growth with the rosemary, and perhaps you even have some. There's some growing in the garden right there. Perhaps you even have some in your garden, and you've never even done any experimentation with it to see how it would work with your body. You could even throw it in your bath to infuse your bath with some rosemary oil. So healing for your lungs and your skin and your hair.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'll share actually is that I've experienced alopecia as sort of a side effect of stress, since I have an old background of dealing with stress and just fatigue. And as a result, I would get like little bald spots, and that's actually how I discovered to combine rosemary, lavender, and tea tree specifically. So tea tree is antifungal, which sometimes, a lot of us are dealing with candida, a lot of us are dealing with overgrowth of fungus just because we consume a lot more sugar than our body can actually handle. So that's one of the benefits. That could also be getting in the way of, skin or hair follicles doing what they need to do. And then rosemary stimulates hair growth and it's stress relieving. And then you also have lavender, which is relaxing and also has all these amazing qualities. So if you maybe you want to strengthen your hair or improve your skin or get rid of some funny bald spots or weird fungus growing on your skin, you can actually combine all these different oils with lotions and or even make your own cream. That's actually what I did. It combines really well with almond oil and coconut oil, shea butter, jojoba oil. Whip it all up and voila, you have your own hair and skin cream that has a lot of medicinal qualities.
Yes. And also about tea tree, something that I wanted to share, which is totally awesome. Going back to burns, lavender is what you treat it with on the initial contact. But then once your wound is healing and scabbed over and starting to regenerate skin, tea tree actually naturally takes away scars.
Oh, nice.
And scars of any kind. I had a really deep motorcycle burn at one young part in my life, and it was huge. It was on my leg, and I thought I was going to lose muscle mass in that part of my calf, and once it had scabbed over, treated it with tea tree and vitamin E oil. That was the blend that I used, and there is no scar whatsoever. Amazing. So if you have some fresh summer scarring that happened because you were out doing something physical and fun, it's a way to to treat that so that you don't have a long-lasting scar. And I think you can also use it on scars that have already set in. It just might not be as effective, but give it a try. Let us know how that goes for you. I'm curious. And then switching gears into this autumn season, once things start to cool down, and lemongrass being one of those straddle oils for me, because it's spicier, it has a certain quality to it, and the taste of the season is spice in terms of Chinese medicine. So now you want to start to bring in the warming oils. And you might even want to start to do that as we enter equinox, just to be in alignment with the way the daylight is shifting. I recently put a pot of ginger and cinnamon fresh on my stove and just started to diffuse it into the air, and it felt so good. My lungs were like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. We haven't smelled this for months, and it feels so good to just let it diffuse into your house, and then to drink it as a tea. It's amazing. And we had talked about antiseptic. Young Living sells a combination of oils. I'm sure there's something similar in the doTERRA line, probably too. This is called Thieves. It's a blend of a lot of what we've already spoken about, including the cinnamon. There is rosemary in here too. The print is way too tiny for me to read right now to you guys, but it has all of these qualities and essential oils that were found to help the gypsies, which is why it's called Thieves, during the time of plague. Do you know this? Do you know this story?
So there's a similar blend in doTERRA called On Guard.
Yes.
Smells really similar combination. But yeah.
Yes. So these spices were found to keep away the germs of the plague when the gypsies were wearing it. There's something similar in Indian tradition in chai, very similar. And in the Jewish Sephardic tradition, there was this box of spices on Sabbath that they would open up, and the whole family had to smell the spices every Friday at least as part of the ritual to protect their immune system. And I travel with this one all the time. I'm on the airplane. As soon as I get on the airplane, I put a few drops in my hand, which I'm not going to do right now. I rub. I'll even put it up into my scalp, on my chest. I'll take some of it into my lungs, and I just feel like it's like it right away creates a certain kind of air quality around me, and I feel that the people around me, I hope they like it too, but it's definitely benefiting them, whether they like the smell or not. But to me, it's just so soothing. It feels like a comforting glass of hot, spicy tea, and then it's just diffusing around your body the whole time. I love, love, love the Thieves, or just getting ginger and cinnamon straight. And then I brought, this is an old bottle of ginger. It's traveled with me all around the world, but it's quite powerful. It's tiny, but that's pure ginger oil from the Young Living.
Nice.
And there's been so many times where I've been traveling with this, and somebody that I've been traveling with isn't feeling well, and their belly is a little off. We've been to Peru, I've been to India. Sometimes your belly can get a little funky.
Right.
And I'll just put a few drops on either my belly or the person who's having some experience, and you start to rub it in a counterclockwise way. You can't see my hand, but just going counterclockwise on your belly to rub it in. And it's almost like that idea of having ginger ale when you have an upset stomach. Within seconds, people are feeling better, they're more relaxed, just the belly rub feels good, but the ginger oil infusing into their gut, literally through the skin, into the blood system, can be very, very powerful. And then you can also put a few drops in a hot cup of water and drink it internally too, because these are food grade oils.
Definitely one of my favorite things to do around this time is to start making tea infusions. And so the spices of chai, as we were mentioning, cinnamon, clove, ginger, and cardamom too is another really good one for the respiratory system. Just diffusing it, boiling it in water, and letting it, letting the aromas permeate throughout the house. And as you're drinking it, it's so good for the whole body, as well as your immune system and your respiratory system, and uplifting your mood. So
and I think as the seasons are changing, one of the other things that's going on is the light starts to shift. So we've been in this time period where the days have been super long, and for me that means I sleep a lot less. I'm just naturally a light person, so as soon as the sun is up, I'm up. But now the days are getting shorter, and oftentimes people will turn to the clutch of caffeine. And these oils that we talked about that make the smell of chai, or literally brewing yourself a nice strong cup of herbal chai, it doesn't have to have the caffeine in it to give you the same effect of that wake up for your brain. Your brain really will appreciate the smell of these things in the morning, help you get up, especially when the time changes. Here in America, we have that where the clocks go back, and it's so confusing for everybody. It's just such a hard time of year on your hormones to go from one time of day feeling one way and then it's overnight totally different. So these essential oils can help you to deal with that transition.
Yeah. And speaking of herbal chai, I tried this recipe when I was traveling, and with travel and between stomach stuff and flu stuff and diesel fuel in other countries that they still use, my husband and I got sick. And we started doing a lot of ginger tea because there was fresh ginger available. So we did just ginger tea with almond milk. And it was really soothing and really comforting, and the almonds were fresh because we were in Sicily. But that's something really nice to try out is do a ginger tea where you're boiling fresh ginger and maybe add some of these other spices like cinnamon, and just add your favorite milk, nut milk. Super yummy and tasty.
Were you guys making fresh almond milk from their almonds, or were they making
They were making fresh
amazing.
almond milk. Yeah, this is a Sicilian thing. It was really cool.
Wow. Oh, bring that back next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I was just going to add a little bit more about sleep, which is just to honor yourself. Sometimes we try to keep up with the pace of summer because that's where we've been at energetically. And the body is going to maybe start to need a little bit more sleep, and try not to beat yourself up about that. Be honoring of your body and make sure you get as much as you need, because the light is changing and your hormones are changing. And it's really, really important to take that time and get the sleep. It might be longer than it was a few weeks ago.
Awesome. So you've got all the essential oils to add to your essential daily activities, including good sleep and good digestion, good breathing, good eating. So these are some of our tips around essential oils.
Yes.
And stay tuned for our next video, where we are going to share with you physical practices as well as vocal practices to rejuvenate during this seasonal change.
Yes. And I wanted to say that we are hosting a retreat.
Yes.
Which is something that we are offering to help you through this transition as well. And we'll post the link down below. And it actually happens over the time change we discovered, which is kind of funny. So we're going to assist you during the retreat to get over that hump. I think I've always wanted to travel when the time was being changed, so that when I got home I was already in the flow of it in a little bit different way than if I had just woken up and the light was different. So I'm excited to share that, and we'll have some early to bed, early to rise days together November 2nd through 4th. And we look forward to that too.
Yep, and that'll be in San Luis Obispo. So stay tuned, and please stay in touch with us. If you love this video, we have so much more to share with you. Hopefully we'll see you in November.
Thank you.
All right.